bowl gouge, a spindle gouge is a scraping tool. You run it like this with both hands. That's one thing. Always run your tools on a lathe with both hands. Never go like this. Never go like that with it. Always put one hand, your left hand, or your right-handed, like this. But if you're right-handed, like me, always keep your hand like this. This is your depth. This is your angle. This is your depth right here. But I always use two hands. Never one-handed. Never trying to scrape away like that while it's running. That's totally unsafe. But yes, a spindle gouge, a roughing gouge, is used to scrape away the material as it's spinning. This lawnmower is really nasty, I'm telling you. Never buy it. But this is a bowl gouge on a different kind of bowl. On a different kind of bowl, I mean, like a log turning, which I'll show you how to do it some other time. Hopefully tomorrow. I mean to do that bowl, that log before it cracks. This one, this gouge, on this kind of turning only, because it's end grain. Do it on the inside. You always stick to the left-hand side because the pieces going this way. If you have a lathe that goes this way, stick to this side. You always want to have wood coming down like this. Yeah, always have your tool on the tool rest. Tool rest is one of these. A tool rest is one of these. Well, this is a nigger tool rest, but always have metal to metal. That means you don't want to have your as you're turning. Ow, damn! Never want to have your have skin under metal like this. You can pinch your fingers. You can pinch your finger off. It hurts like a bitch. And you can get a blood blister. I know guys have done it in shop class 5 years ago. But always put metal to metal. And this is the kind of turning, it's called faceplate turning. That's because you put a piece of metal in the back, your screw or lag bolt, piece of metal, the wood spins, and you have it's all roughed up. You take your spear point, like this, it's called a spear point. You take this with both hands again, and you scrape away and do a contour of a shape that you want it in. And you can use this for the inside, scrape away the inside. This is called a farting tool. It looks like a spear point, but oops, that's a blooper. It's shaped like a spear point, but it doesn't have the bottom part chamfered off, so you can have a sharp edge on this side. That's for parting the workpiece off right here, or anywhere, or if you're making a candle holder or something like that. You can use this on both turnings, spindle and faceplate. Oh, this sucks, I'm telling you. This is called a fine tuning gouge. I use this for fine work on spindles. Again, this is only a spindle tool. Yeah, this is only a spindle tool. If you use the wrong tool, the wrong type of work, you're going to damage it. You can also damage yourself. You can always hurt yourself also. This is called a skew. If for beginners, I suggest you not use it. It's very, very dangerous. You take it almost like you're planing off with a hand plane. On a spindle, you go like this and just shave it. And this point right here, if you get that caught in the workpiece, it could come flying back and stab you, come flying back and hurt somebody else, or go flying and hit your wall. It'll do some real damage. But yeah, this tool is not for beginners. I use it, but I don't use it. I don't like using it. It's too damn dangerous. But and again, always wear your safety glasses when you're turning. It's not safe not to use them because when you're using it, shavings fly everywhere. And if you don't like getting dirty, a lathe is not for you. I'm sorry, guys. So I don't have a mud jug down here. I have one upstairs, but I just don't feel like getting all full of dirt. But yeah, a cheap set of lathe tools you can get at Grizzly.com. Not my Grizzly, Grizzly Machinery, Grizzly.com. You can get those for 20 bucks. They're a cheap set to start off with. I have about 2 of them over there, but they fall apart in about a year or so. Over the following year, when you start getting better at it, get yourself a better tool set. Whoops. Whoops. Yeah, this bowl gouge cost me 45 bucks. It was a lot longer then. I've used it for the past 7 years, but it gives a real nice workpiece. Turns out real nice bowls. To sharpen them, you take your grinding wheel and you turn it like this on the side of the grinding wheel. A bench grinder, not an angle grinder. And your best bet, here I'll show you. The best bet is to start off with, this is what the lathe looks like. My lathe. Each lathe is different. You can see that. Okay. Yeah, this is a piece I'm working on. I'm gonna have to cut that off. This is a real hard piece. There's some cherry in there. Cherry turns great. Maple turns like butter. Cherry and maple turn great. Oak, ash and maple, have it all mixed together. This is what happens when you get caught. It's called snipe. It snipes up like crazy, and it's a real hard thing to turn. I was having problems last night. That's why I quit. But yeah, that's your lathe. That's a lathe. I was talking to the Big Dipper 351. He wants to get into it. That's why I'm making this video. You always the cheap ones are good, but when you get a bench top, make sure you have a table to put it on. That metal table is nice, but it's real heavy. It's hard to move. But yeah, if you ever get a floor mounted like I have, make sure you bolt it into the floor. Otherwise, it'll walk itself across the floor if you have a high speed and it vibrates a lot. You can do some real nice turnings on a lathe. I know guys that made a homemade lathe out of car axles, and they turned massive bases. If you ever go to Grizzly's showroom, there's several in the United States. There's one in Missouri, Muncie, Pennsylvania, and Washington. That's one place to go. They have some beautiful stuff there. Some guys make precious baseball bats out of mahogany, just for show. And some of the bases that they make on those big car lathes I told you about, they're about as tall as me. They're about this round too. They're massive. But like I said, always use your main tools for the right purpose. And always, my lathe doesn't have a shield that comes down. Most of them do. This one doesn't, because that only goes up to 3,000 RPMs. Ones that go to 5,000 have a big shield that comes down. That's another thing you want to get, a face shield. I never got one because the safety glasses and the safety goggles work fine for me. But and another thing, the bigger your diameter of work, the bigger the diameter, the bigger the workpiece is, the slower the speed you want to run it at, because of the centrifugal force. If you run it at too high a speed, it gains too much force, and it'll throw your piece off, and it could kill you. That's why. And on small turnings, same with spindles. As you wear your workpiece down to a smaller diameter, the faster you can turn it up. The faster you can make it go. In other words. Yeah, I've been out of high school for about almost 5 years. I've been doing wood turning since 9th grade, and I got my lathe after about 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago. It's a great tool. I got that for only 179 bucks at Grizzly. They don't make that model anymore, but they still make the parts. I have my old high school shop book. I have several that my high school shop teacher gave me. It's a good book. Has a lot of information on it. This is what you call a spur center. This is how you make all the baseball bats and spindles and cable legs. What you do is you mark it, you pound in with a hammer or mallet like this, so you can't pull it out. You don't want to pound it too hard, otherwise if you're using soft, it'll crack it right down the middle, and it's a waste of wood. But and I'm going to show you guys another rule that I've learned. Always make sure your workpiece clears the tool rest, because if you don't, it's going to, when you turn on, it's going to smash it and really damage it. Make sure the closer your tool rest is, the safer you are. The more supported the tool is as the piece is turning. I really wish I had somebody to hold the camera. Yes, and make sure all the wood that you use to cut all the wood that you turn down, make sure you always keep it glued for at least 24 hours. Don't wait 12 hours, don't wait 8 hours. Make sure you wait a full day to make sure it's all glued up and it's all solidified. Otherwise the piece could blow apart in your hands while it's turning. Yeah, that's pretty much about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy this video and get a lathe. I really enjoy it. I might even buy a new lathe at some point when I get a bigger shop. And I hope to get a planer, a new joiner.